Bonjour, this is Jazz. Thank you for stopping by to smell the roses on Rue Madame. And today we're talking specifically to Black mothers to see their different answers to specific questions regarding the Black community. So stay tuned and enjoy.
Okay, so the first question is, I prefer my child become a famous athlete rather than a well-known civil rights activist. Agree, disagree, and so on and so forth. You can start, Keisha.
I agree. I would want my child to be a
A
famous
famous
athlete
athlete.
over, and the reason why I say that is with the athlete, he can be, he would be famous enough to have a platform to do both. He could be a Colin Kaepernick, where
You
he
can't
can,
pick both.
well, he
He
could
has to be either.
be a famous athlete.
Okay, Tiana.
I don't think it's that much impact behind it, but it's a great thing to do. You know, you to be involved in a sport is awesome, and we know famous athletes have a nice amount of zeros behind their names. But civil rights, I think it's like better, not as much as a target on the person for being a civil rights activist as it was back in the day. But it's still dangerous for both. Like your child can be injured, being an athlete, and then the career is over. Then what? Yeah, I don't know. I don't. I'm going to say disagree.
Okay. Okay, Mary, what's your answer?
Well, that's kind of like a trick question. This the fact that right now are in sports and they're trying to get to a level where they can be professional baseball players. But at the same time, I guess you just want to like a yes or no. But
You can somewhat agree or somewhat disagree.
yeah, I would want them to be well rounded so that they're able to like almost like Keisha was saying, like I somewhat agree.
Okay. And Glenn?
But
Gwendolyn.
I somewhat disagree with that because I feel like as a famous athlete, you can also be a social activist. And as a social activist alone, I feel like you don't get as much mission. I wouldn't want them just to be a famous athlete and that's it. No, I would not want that.
The next question is, it's better for my child to learn how to fight back or turn the other cheek. Tiana, let's start.
I'm closer on the turn the other cheek. Somewhat disagree.
Okay. And
So
Keisha?
I agree that they should fight back.
So you strongly agree?
I'm right up under strongly agree.
I think that they should try to turn the other cheek. However, if that don't work, then have at it, baby. Yeah. If not, then you need to be able to take care of your business.
You
So
say you
whatever
have
that falls under.
sons. Have they ever been in this situation?
Um, no, not that I know. Well, do they? Not that, not that I can recall right off.
Okay. Next question. I prefer my child to attend a historically Black college. Tiana?
what's the middle response? Somewhat,
Somewhat agree or somewhat disagree?
somewhat agree.
Okay. Why were you hesitant about it?
I wanted the middle ground because I mean HBCUs are great. They're phenomenal. But I didn't go to one, so it's not the end of the world. It's still opportunity to buy non-HBCUs, but it's also phenomenal opportunities if you do that. I personally didn't go to one, but yeah, that's
Okay.
why.
And Keisha?
I somewhat agree that they should attend HBCUs, just like Tayana. I didn't go to a HBCU, but I think it's important that are, taught about their heritage and Black excellence is reinforced in their life. Because sometimes you can get kind of thinking that you just like the other. Sometimes you find it that you're not. So the HBCU kind of reinforces your, Black history.
And what about you, Mary?
I went to one, Russ College down in a little town called Holly Springs, Mississippi. However, I think that would be nice, you know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't like require it because I feel like that we all have to live here together and they have to learn how to live around everybody else.
When you, your HBCU, did it make you a well-rounded person, or did you feel like you were missing something by going to?
I don't feel like I was missing something. And of course, I do feel like I'm well-rounded, but I feel like at some point, I feel like because of how I grew up, I wasn't able to, I felt different from other people until I started working around because, mainly other people nowadays. But I feel like that now, so more than deal with people or talk more to people more so.
Okay.
But nowadays kids growing up and then they're around everybody. Like majority of my family is, mixed, so like I think my kids will be already pretty much well-rounded and it's the norm to be opposed to me, always just being on, everybody, just basically Black, and I only see white people every once, not every once in a while, but like seeing them as over
Right.
here almost.
Right.
So but I think I would like them to, but it's not required.
I like HBCUs because, Black people being around each other is a good experience, but I think it's not realistic. How to assimilate and be around people of different backgrounds, especially if you're interested in the background that is mostly dominated by other people like myself. So I think it's important for your situation as opposed to being out in the work world and then having to try to figure it out to a HBCU.
You know what? It's funny that you say that because living in Detroit most of my life, we all grew up around Black people. That's all I saw. We only had one white boy that lived in our neighborhood and went to our school. And when I transitioned into the workforce and I was the only Black person in the department, I had no problem assimilating with white people. I think they have more of a problem with us.
When I went to school, it was more of a culture shock because I did grow up around Black people and it was like a sprinkle of white people here and there. So it was good to have that experience of actually learning how white people are firsthand as opposed to what my preconceived or whatever. So to actually be in the experience where the good and the bad, I know how to act when I got to my professional career because I'm like, okay, I know these people gonna act like this. I can expect this from them, and this how I'm gonna act because I know they're gonna be there.
Politicians are ineffective on handling Black issues. Tiana?
Black politicians are ineffective on handling Black issues.
Yes.
Somewhat disagree.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Why do you say that?
So I think that they tried to get in office to address some of the issues and stuff, but it's a system that been built so long.
Right.
You know, so just this all present their bill or policy or whatever, it may not always be accepted. It still has to pass through different steps. So it's not that they don't. So that's why sometimes it can be effective.
You said the question was, do you think Black politicians do what?
Black politicians are effective on handling Black issues.
I would say disagree.
Okay.
That they are not effective.
Would you prefer a Black politician over a white politician, or does it matter?
It really does, because the system dictates the politician. The politician don't dictate the system.
What about you, Mary?
That's what I was trying to say.
You know what? I think it depends on the person.
It's partially a system thing because, you know, they don't really have any power anyway. And like she said, that sometimes they do represent issues just because they're trying to get that vote. And then once they get that position, there's more. And it's not entirely their fault. It's sometimes it's just bigger stuff that's bigger than them that's more important.
Okay, this is the last question. Children are to be seen and not heard. What do you think, Keisha?
I think should be able to voice their thoughts and opinions. At the end of the day, what I say would end up being the ruling factor, but to take into consideration what they think about it, I think that is giving that child the respect. I think they still deserve that. Not agree, and you may not necessarily go with it, but just to make them feel that they're being heard, I think that's important.
I asked this question because I think it's common in the Black community, especially with Black moms in the past and older generations, that was what was expected. I was wondering if that is something that you agree with or not. What do you think, Mary?
A time and place for everything. So if I'm in the middle of doing something, I'm telling you, like, be quiet, sit down. I expect them to sit down way or anything like that. That's one scenario where a lot of kids where they felt like they weren't being heard in their home or community or whatever, and they had to hide a lot of stuff or not tell people a lot of stuff because they felt like the parents not gonna listen or not believe them and stuff like that, or our kids, so that they're able to know that, you know, we're here for them, they're being heard. It should be a place where you can come. So being able to tell or talk to the parents or whoever it is about issues going on. So we have to have the open doors for them, I feel.
What do you think, Tiana?
Somewhat disagree. I think it's situational, like Mary was saying. Children should be able to be children. They should be able to laugh, talk, and play. If you got children, I don't expect them to pick quietly. Like,
right.
Yeah, so I only got one, so he playing and talking by himself right now. But yeah, situational, you know, if it's adults talking, I'm on the phone, you know, I still try to teach them, mommy's on the phone. You can't just come over or wait until I get off the phone. So just explaining to them instead of just shushing them, like I feel like in a lot of situations we were growing up, just get out, go sit down somewhere, get out the room, you know, kind of thing. Like, you know, go sit down, everybody go outside, don't come back in. If you come in, you're staying in. But yeah,
I mean, I definitely agree with what they were saying before. Same thing, situation. So I don't, like, you know, if I'm having adult conversations with different adults, your kids should not be sitting up putting you in because that's not your place. But I definitely feel like my child, I want them to be strong emotionally, be able to talk to me about their feelings and what's going on. So I do feel like they should have the group to tell me their opinion about what's going on in their lives, and tell me how they're doing, express their well-being. Instead of situations that ain't your place. You should not be commenting on that. That ain't for kids.
Okay, I think that's all of my questions. Thank you.
To you is, how do you answer those questions? I mean, you got our input. What we need to hear your input also. We need to know what your opinions are on those questions. Start at the top.